now watching the most valuable basketball podcast in Indonesia, Box Out Indonesia, with me, Mutiara Sastra, as your host. As per usual, this is probably the last edition of IBL 2026 as we're moving to the finals, IBL finals. That's why I'm all alone, karena gue akan break down tactical matchup, individual matchup, what to expect to this IBL finals. We've got new finals, everybody, as we are having the new contender, the Cinderella story, Bogor Hornbills, yang menjadi tim wilayah Bogor pertama yang melangkah ke IBL finals, menantang the Juggernaut Pelita Jaya Basketball Jakarta yang sudah mengalahkan the defending champion Dewa United Banten. So both teams punya profil yang berbeda, punya history yang berbeda. Beberapa pemain pernah bermain satu sama lain, pernah bermain against, pernah bermain satu tim. So this is going to be interesting. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get on to it. So first off, the narrative and the context about these teams. Pertama-tama untuk yang mungkin belum catch up, seperti apa sejauh ini postseason IBL berjalan untuk Pelita Jaya dan juga Bogor Hornbills. By the way, guys, we are moving to best of 5 series. It's the first season of IBL doing best of 5 format yang sudah berlangsung sejak semifinal ya. Jadi untuk yang bingung kalau nanti rekornya kok segini, kemenangannya segini, kekalahannya segini, karena di first round kita punya best of 3 still, and then moving on to semifinals until finals we're going to have best of 5 series. Pertanyaannya best of 5 series tuh jadi gimana sih Kak nentuinnya? Gampangnya simplify, best of 5 series adalah siapapun yang mendapat 3 kemenangan paling duluan, itu dia yang menang. Dan Kak mesti berturut-turut gitu ya. Jadi 3 kemenangan siapapun itu, baik itu 2-1 terlebih dahulu atau mungkin ketinggalan 0-2 terlebih dahulu mungkin, tapi kalau 3 game setelahnya mereka menang, then they're the champion of IBL 2026. So yeah, Pelita Jaya entering finals as two-way machine. Kalau yang nonton edisi first round preview, edisi semifinals preview, I've always talk about Pelita Jaya being the best defensive team. Now moving on to postseason. Kalau kemarin kan kita bahas team stats tuh regular season ya. Melangkah ke postseason, Pelita Jaya tuh punya identitas seperti apa sih? So they're the best defensive team coming to the postseason, entering finals as a two-way machine. Karena setelah melakukan sweep di first round, kemudian mengalahkan Dewa United yang notabene adalah tim nomor 1 untuk offense. So they're peaking at the perfect time right now. They boast both the number 1 offensive rating and the number 1 defensive rating. So they're obviously so far the favorite contender to win the championship title. But I've always loved the Cinderella story in Bogor Hornbills right now dengan rekor kemenangan 5-2 di postseason ya, 5 kemenangan 2 kekalahan. Di ultimate Cinderella story built on modern analytics because they've always taken the highest rating shots dengan jumlah yang banyak, yang mana artinya dia Bogor Hornbills banyak melakukan banyak tembakan 3 angka dengan mendapatkan poin diferensial juga yang lebih besar. Alright, let's talk about team battlegrounds. Apa sih yang bisa di-expect matchup antara kedua tim ini dari sisi bird's eye view ya, dari sisi general dulu aja. Pertama-tama yang paling distinct apa sih kelihatan dari kedua tim ini? Salah satunya adalah I want to talk about the 3-point philosophy yang dimiliki oleh tim ini antara Bogor versus Pelita Jaya. This is a matchup against volume versus efficiency. Why am I talking about it? Kenapa? Karena pertama, Bogor Hornbills, they're the gunners. Bogor's offense is built on modern basketball math. They attempt threes at the highest rate between the playoff teams. Nomor 1 di 3-point rate dengan angka 38,34%. But they're quite streaky karena dari attempt yang mereka dapatkan, yang mana adalah yang paling tinggi di 8 tim playoffs, mereka streaky because they are producing below average, yaitu di angka 33,51% atau berada di peringkat 6 dari 8 tim. So what I see is that streaky doesn't always mean bad, because sometimes it's also part of the strategy. They want to overwhelm the opponents with sheer volumes. As for Pelita Jaya, they're the snipers. So they take lesser attempt. They are efficient. They do not force from the deep. Mereka ada di peringkat 5 dari rate 3 point yang mereka ambil, yaitu di angka 29,59%. But when they do shoot, they are splashing them at an absurdly leading 40,52%. Jadi nomor 1 di 3-point percentage. So they are focusing on shot quality rather than volume, which is going to be interesting untuk lihat nanti ya, battle of the perimeter shooting seperti apa. Kemudian nomor 2 yang juga salah satu yang patut untuk kita tunggu-tunggu, mid-range mortar, and this is leaning towards Pelita Jaya's ultimate counter. Kenapa? Karena gini, Bogor Hornbills selama postseason adalah tim yang benar-benar sangat baik dalam menjaga rim area. Nomor 1 di rim field goal percentage allowed. Nomor 1-nya itu di angka 52,97%. Dalam artian mereka menjaga rim area sangat baik, sangat efisien, sehingga efisiensi lawan turun sampai ke hanya paling tidak setengahnya aja. Kalau mereka melakukan rim drive atau rim shooting, mereka hanya bisa convert paling tidak 50%. So that's very efficient. So their defensive scheme, packing the paint, kalau kita bicara rim kan berarti area dalamnya ya. They're packing the paint so well, but that means they're going to leave certain areas open. In this case, they're leaving the likes of mid-range, long mid-range, short mid-range open. Di mana soal defense, Bogor Hornbills, they are conceding the areas of short and mid-range, short and long mid-range itu berada di posisi 6 dan juga 7. Jadi secara defensive area, defensive coverage, they're so good on protecting the rim area. Tapi di luar itu, tapi masih di dalam perimeter area, mereka kesulitan untuk menjaganya karena it could be a lot of things ya. Bisa jadi karena graffiti dari para pemain-pemain lawannya, bisa jadi dari rotasinya yang tidak, rotasi defender yang tidak berjalan dengan baik dan sebagainya. This is a fatal structural flaw against Pelita Jaya karena Pelita Jaya, they love to operate in the likes of long mid range. Mereka nomor 2 di long mid range rate shotnya. They hit those shots at a lit clip di nomor 2 juga untuk field goal percentage-nya. Jadi nggak cuma rate-nya atau attempt-nya yang mereka lakukan nomor 2 terbanyak di liga, tapi dari field goal-nya di area tersebut mereka juga nomor 2 terbaik di angka 41,57%. So Pelita Jaya will happily accept what Bogor Hornbills drop coverage concedes and systematically dissect them from the elbows. Nomor 3 yang Mutia mau bahas adalah the foul disparity, and to a lot of people's surprise, this is actually playing to Bogor Hornbills' advantage. Walaupun optiknya mungkin orang-orang pada bilang tapi mereka, terutama mungkin beberapa pemain ya, di free throw nggak segitu bagusnya. Hear me out. So, if Bogor's high volume trees aren't falling, they survive by drawing fouls. They're one of the good ones. They're one of the better ones. They have the number 1 free throw rate di angka 35,38 di postseason. So what this means is that they are so good on driving contacts, create contacts, and force the whistle. Dan ini juga jadi salah satu yang bisa weakness yang bisa di-hunt Bogor Hornbills untuk Pelita Jaya. Because Pelita Jaya is highly prone on fouling. They are ranked number 7 in free throw rate allowed di angka 32,41. So if Bogor can aggressively attack the paint, put Pelita Jaya's key rotation players kayak Jeff Witty, Perrin Buford in foul trouble early, it flips the mathematical advantage. Ini kejadian kayak di series Pelita Jaya lawan Dewa United, di mana Pelita Jaya dipaksa bermain handicapped karena beberapa pemain kena foul early, kemudian start playernya terlibat bukan cuma early fouls, bahkan sampai fouled out di late stretch of the game, kayak Darius Moten, Brandon Jawato, Jeff Witty juga sempat ya foul trouble. Jadi ini salah satu yang bisa di hunt juga sama Bogor Hornbills. Let's talk about individual matchup. We have a lot to uncover, so that's why I'm gonna quickly go through it sampai kita bahas yang paling seru nanti, tactical prediction. Alright, individual matchup. Number 1, star power. Big 3 versus Big 3. Yang pertama, Mutia mau reveal beberapa angka yang juga cukup menarik. Yang pertama, Pelita Jaya's hyper efficient trio. Yang ini nggak usah diragukan lagi ya. Perrin Buford, Jeff Wheaty, kemudian Darius Moten, mereka combine di angka 56,5 points per game. Their efficiency is staggering. Terutama Darius Moten ada di angka 68,55% efficiency, dan dari Jeff Wheaty sendiri di angka 58,22% di effective field goal. So Pelita Jaya simply rarely wastes a possession. Kemudian ada Bogor Hornbills yang udah bisa diprediksi juga, they are also high octane. Ada Travin Thibodeau 25 poin, Caleb Wesson 22,14 poin per game, Stephen Branch 21,71 poin. They are responsible for a jaw-dropping 68,85 poin per game. They carry an incredible offensive heavy load, operate with ultimate green lights as well. Kemudian salah satunya individual matchup yang juga harus ditunggu, bukan cuma dari trio ketemu trio, tapi individual matchup ada juga di engines, yaitu Perrin Buford. Dan kali ini di sisi Bogor Hornbills, I'm gonna talk about Stephen Branch. Kenapa? Let's talk about it. Perrin Buford, he's actually playing on an MVP level already. Not saying he's gonna be the MVP, but in terms of productivity, efficiency, dia salah satu yang terbaik di postseason dibandingkan dengan pemain-pemain lain di tim playoff. Rata-rata mencetak 22 poin, hampir 8 rebound, lebih dari 11 assist per gamenya. Dan yang paling penting, impact-nya juga yang luar biasa. He has 26.61 PER atau player efficiency rate. Simply put, every possession seems to run through him. He is the master of Pelita Jaya's offense and constantly breaking down defenses and creating easy look for his teammates. Kemudian Stephen Branch, the physical slasher. Profile ini sebenarnya agak-agak beda-beda tipis sebenarnya, karena Perrin Buford oke. Alright, yang kedua, the engine. Mutia akan memilih dua pemain ini kalau bicara bukan dari matchup antara ketika ketemu di lapangan, tapi lebih kepada star player quality atau dari load quality, load engines-nya dibandingkan antara Pelita Jaya dan juga Bogor. Ada Perrin Buford sama Stephen Branch. Let's talk about Perrin Buford first. He's playing absurdly good. Dia punya rata-rata mencetak 22 poin, hampir 8 rebound, hampir 11 assist per gamenya. Dan bukan cuma itu aja, yang juga paling mencengangkan adalah efisiensinya. Dia mencatat efisiensi di angka 26,61, 26.61 player efficiency rating. What does it mean? Actually, simply put, every possession seems to run through him, and he's the master of Pelita Jaya's offense when he's on the floor, constantly breaking down defenses and creating easy looks for his teammates. So that's very important. Stephen Branch, on the other hand, the physical slasher, dia generate 14,29 points per game purely in the paint, and he creates chaos and collapses defenses through sheer downhill force. Dari points in the game, points in the paint-nya aja kita bisa lihat bahwa efektivitas dia emang banyakkan ketika dia merangsek dan dia drive ke arah rim drive. Dan ini yang sangat susah untuk dibendung sama tim-tim lawan sejauh ini. Siapakah yang bisa memberhentikan seorang Stephen Branch tanpa getting the contact gitu ya? Itu yang jadi pertanyaan. Terus nomor 3 ada the paint enforcer. Let's talk about big man. Ada Jeff Wheaty, ada Caleb Wesson. Jeff Wheaty, the type of profile seorang Jeff Wheaty ini Mutia udah sempat bilang di episode sebelumnya. He is a traditional anchor. He averages near double-double, 11,83 rebound dan 1,83 block per gamenya. He gets his point off drop steps, rolls, scoring 11 paint points per gamenya. So he wants to stay near the rim. Sementara ada Caleb Wesson, the ultimate mismatch. He scores only 5.14 points in the paint because he acts as a stretch 5 dengan rata 7,86 3-pointers per game. On defense, he's also not so bad. He blocks a massive 3 shots per game on average. Let's talk a little bit about X factor and weaknesses Tuhan. Yang pertama, local disparity-nya nih. Yang mana on paper sejauh ini dan yang udah kelihatan di postseason sejauh ini, it looks to me it will be Pelita Jaya's massive advantage. Remember Prastawa di gamenya Dewa. Remember Vincent Kosasih dengan smart plays-nya yang dia lakuin, getting the clutch points against Dewa United as well. Who else? Brandon Jawato, for example. But yeah, let's talk about it. This is why Bogor Hornbills locals becoming X factor. I'm going to talk about it. So, pertama-tama tadi Mutia udah bilang kan, the local disparity. Because, number one, it's because the imports has the potential to cancel each other out. So, the local depth will decide the series. Yang pertama, Pelita Jaya punya steady veteran di Andakara Prastawa. He has been remarkably clinical. He has been influential on both ends, nggak cuma dari offensive side aja, tapi dia bisa jadi ball stopper, dia bisa jadi yang ambil para ball handler dari awal, early staggering early foul dan sebagainya. Dia average 12,67 poin, shooting 40,54% dari 3-point line. He functions as Pelita Jaya's safety valve. Pelita Jaya also boasts di perimeter depth. Ada Agassi Gontara juga, jangan lupa, dengan angka 38,89% dari 3-point line. Ada Brandon Jawato juga, welcome back Wato, dengan angka 41,67% dari 3-point line. Now I'm going to talk more about Bogor Hornbills. Kenapa? Because this is very important. This is where their locals have to step up. Di beberapa game, karena kalau kalian ingat, the moment local players finding their touch, they will win the game. And that happens on the postseason so far for Bogor Hornbills. David Nuban, 14 poin back-to-back lawan Satria Muda. They're winning. Daniel Wenas, 11 poin season high lawan Solo waktu itu. Hornbills menang. He is a reliable floor spacer and secondary scorer. Kak Sefli juga, Sefli Rondonuwu waktu lawan Solo. Bukan cuma harus step up sebenarnya, tapi juga harus konsisten. So I'm not necessarily just looking at the 14 points aja dari Kak Sefli, tapi juga harus lihat dari efektifnya. Effective field goal percentage-nya ada di angka 36,36% untuk Kak Sefli. So this is, I would say, I'm not saying this is a shooting slump, but this is actually something that needs to be fixed. Because I know he has the potential, he has the potential to be good. Anthony Arga hanya 2,86 assist per game. So the X factor is, again, I've been saying this over and over again. The X factor is if Anthony Arga can step up as secondary facilitator. Then the playmaking burden akan bisa kebagi. Nggak cuma di importsnya aja, nggak cuma di beberapa orang aja. Anthony Arga harus step up seperti yang dilakukan juga ketika lawan Satria Muda. And he's getting better for sure. And that's why I've always believed the locals are Bogor's true X factor. Not because they need to carry the offense. They don't. But because against a team like Pelita Jaya, you simply cannot expect Travis, Stephen Branch, and Caleb Wesson to do everything for 40 minutes, especially against 4 times Coach of the Year. He will always find a way to hunt you and to hunt your star players. Pelita Jaya is too deep. They've got the resources. They can throw multiple defenders. Mereka bisa buang body sebenarnya ke pemain-pemain star players. Kenapa? Karena sebenarnya kalaupun kena foul out, foul trouble, segala macam, Pelita Jaya has the luxury of having 10, 11 rotation players to be able to shoot at staggeringly probably close to same level. So yeah, they can throw multiple defenders, multiple looks, multiple lineup at Bogor's stars throughout an entire series. So the question isn't whether the big three will show up, because they will. The question is whether Bogor can get meaningful production from their fourth, fifth, sixth options when Pelita Jaya inevitably loads up on the stars. Let's talk about tactical prediction. I'm very excited about this karena by the way semuanya ini aku disclaimer aja. Semuanya sifatnya hypothetical. Ini adalah yang aku lihat dari apa yang terjadi di position sejauh ini. So I will predict what would happen with these kinds of matchup between the two, dan apa yang udah terjadi dan apa yang berhasil dan tidak berhasil di postseason sejauh ini. Nomor 1, Pelita Jaya. Pelita Jaya's defensive game will likely to start with Caleb Wesson. Caleb Wesson sejauh ini adalah offensive hub yang baik. He is the best screener, arguably the best passer among the bigs as well, and a player who can punish mismatches inside. So expect Pelita Jaya to force early decisions for Caleb Wesson karena biasanya pun juga dia yang bawa bola dari belakang ke depan kadang-kadang. Expect PJ to force early decision, disrupt the pass kayak yang mereka lakukan ke Dewa, gangguin Josh Ibarra di top key atau force kick out dan help on the weak side. Another one to contain Caleb Wesson adalah mencoba small ball lineup. Padahal Bogor sering pakai small ball lineup ya. But I would expect Pelita Jaya to also rotate and having a small ball lineup dengan Darius Moten di posisi 5. Jadi kalau misalnya kalau Caleb Wesson lagi wangi dari luar dan Jeff Witty terus-terusan ke expose, we're gonna talk about this later, but Jeff Witty juga soal gambling, soal area mana yang dia lebih bagus, sebenarnya Jeff Witty as a traditional big, he's very good on protecting around the rim, tapi kalau ditarik keluar itu di mana lawan bisa hunt mismatches and hunt weaknessnya Jeff Witty. So again, playing Darius Moten for example as a center di posisi 5, jauh lebih mobile, lebih cepat Darius Moten saat Caleb Wesson misalnya, ini hypothetical ya, saat Caleb Wesson melakukan pick and pop ke garis 3 point, which he's already done over and over again on the previous matchup. Moten bisa melakukan switch dengan mulus tanpa close out yang reckless atau berlebihan, dan rotasinya gimana caranya untuk menutupi kekosongan di wing ya, karena Moten digeser. Pelita Jaya bisa masukin the likes of Brandon Jawato, Agassi Guantara. Jadi line up yang berisi a small ball line up ini, in my head it could be Prastawa, Perrin Buford, Jawato, Agassi, Darius Moten. Ini kecepatan rotasinya bisa gila-gilaan, off ball-nya bisa gila-gilaan, weak side help-nya juga bisa melakukan switch everything defense. Jadi salah satunya bukan cuma Caleb Wesson yang ditangani, tapi Stephen Branch juga nggak punya celah untuk mismatch untuk di drive. So if that doesn't work, they probably tire Caleb up. Pertahanan terbaik melawan seorang Caleb Wesson itu adalah dengan menghajarnya habis-habisan saat memegang bola. Karena Caleb Wesson bermain sebenarnya sangat lama, usage-nya tinggi dan minutes-nya pun per game juga sangat lama, di angka 39,22 menit per gamenya. Jadi bebannya tuh super berat, jarang turun minum. Jadi ya eye testnya aja, all you gotta do is tire him up, right? Mekanismenya bisa dengan pick and roll untuk nargetin Caleb Wesson sampai capek ya, Perrin Buford mungkin atau Jeff Witty, paksa Caleb ini untuk punya kontak fisik, bergesekan fisik terus dengan Jeff Witty di bawah ring setiap kali Pelita Jaya juga menyerang. Tujuannya fatigue, jelas fatigue pun juga mungkin translated to 3-point accuracy. Lebih penting lagi, paksa dia obviously fouls, early fouls, karena kalau Wesson pun juga mencatat rata-rata 2,71 fouls per game. So kalau di pertengahan quarter 2 aja dia punya 3 foul misalnya. Jadi rotasi Bogor Hornbills nanti di late in the game di quarter 3 dan 4 selanjutnya juga akan kelabakan ya karena ada di foul watch. The matchup zone juga jadi salah satu yang patut untuk kita lihat kalau Bogor Hornbills memaksakan Caleb Wesson di luar dan Stephen Branch untuk penetrasi. Pelita Jaya bisa main 3-2 misalnya matchup zone, memaksa Jeff Witty tetap di tengah untuk jaga. Kelemahan pertahanan zona tuh kan sebenarnya zone defense itu kan sebenarnya tembakan-tembakan ekstra kayak dari area wing atau corner ya. Namun ini adalah calculated risk. Coach Dave juga udah bilang you gotta gamble, you gotta choose your sacrifice. Pelita Jaya mungkin akan menantang guard atau shooter untuk nembak dan membuktikan mereka bisa mengalahkan Pelita Jaya atau enggak. Apalagi terbukti di postseason kemarin pun juga sebenarnya streaky ya, only on like several games di mana pemain-pemain lokal Bogor bisa meledak. So this is again, it's time for the locals to step up. Masih tentang Pelita Jaya, their second homework, kalau tadi banyak bahas Caleb Wesson, their second homework is Stephen Branch, especially his downhill attacks. Branch is at his best when he gets into the lane and collapse the defense. Pelita Jaya akan throwing bodies at him, that's one, and force him into the likes of pull-up jumper misalnya, atau difficult reads, forcing him to have early decision. Ada juga Travin Thibodeau. He is the player who can break multiple defensive scheme when he's scoring efficiently from all levels sebenarnya. Jadi nggak cuma 3-pointer aja, he's the league MVP for a reason. Nggak cuma 3-pointer aja, he's good at perimeter area, he's good at elbow, he's good at mid-range as well. So I would possibly think Pelita Jaya will keep fresh legs around him to chase him around, to do box one sebagainya. So for me, the biggest offensive question for Bogor is not how well the Big Three will score, because they will. The question is, when Pelita Jaya sends extra help towards Bogor's Big Three, will the likes of David Nuban, the likes of Dewa, Daniel Wenas, Selvy Rondonuo, Antoni Arga, and the rest of the local core convert those opportunities? Because they should. Gravity yang dimiliki oleh pemain-pemain import mereka abis-abisan bagusnya, sehingga mereka bisa got double team, triple team. Itu adalah hal yang sangat-sangat possible. Pelita Jaya's depth creates a war of attrition, because if Bogor's locals can create a consistent 20-25 points per night, itu akan membuat Pelita Jaya pun juga harus memilih sacrifice yang harus dijaga itu. They are forced to make difficult choices to make defensively. So yeah, again, this is the Bogor Hornbills against the deepest roster in Indonesian basketball. So that's a dangerous game to play if you cannot convert from the locals. So yeah, let's see. Kemudian masih untuk Pelita Jaya, Stephen Branch bukan cuma dari downhill attacks aja, tapi seperti yang mungkin IBL fans juga mungkin bisa prediksikan gue mengarah kemana, free throw crisis. While he is a downhill terror, he has a massive and glaring weakness which naked eyes can see. Kalau hopefully kita lihat ya, semoga, karena aku selalu pengen seriesnya jadi kompetitif ya. Banyak banget kesempatan game di mana Bogor Hornbills bisa menang kalau Stephen Branch bisa convert at least 50% atau 70% dari free throw dia. Karena kadang it's only game of inches, it's only game of possessions, game of momentums, hanya ditentukan dari 4-5 poin aja. So yeah, expect Pelita Jaya to employ strategy on that, especially on crunch time, to terror and attack Stephen Branch, because they even if they have sacrifice foul, they probably predict Stephen Branch could not convert from free throws. So expect that to be an uphill battle. Hopefully we really hope Stephen Brunch sudah memperbaiki free throw-nya ya. Hopefully Stephen Brunch has fixed his free throw, so it's going to be an interesting and close series untuk semua IBL fans, untuk biar senang ya. And then terakhir dari Pelita Jaya, baseline denial. Di sini Mutia mencatat karena Pelita Jaya bisa dengan efisien menjaga daerah corner. Mereka nomor 2 di corner 3-point percentage allowed. Tapi ada nomor 1. Nomor 1-nya adalah Bogor Hornbills. They rank number 1 in corner 3 rate allowed. Ke 4,46%. So expect the series to be heavily congested in the middle of the floor. Karena baseline kick outs tuh akan sangat-sangat mudah terbaca, easily intercepted, and they will do their best to diminish and to just eliminate any chances from around those areas di arah corner 3. That's on Pelita Jaya. Let's move on to Bogor Hornbills. In terms of tactical discussion ya. Pertama-tama, structural weakness-nya Pelita Jaya yang bisa di-hunt apa aja sih? Yang pertama, foul discipline. Pelita Jaya is highly prone on bailing out offenses. They are prone on committing fouls. Nomor 7 di free throw rate allowed 32,41 di playoff. Their aggressive perimeter defense and shot contesting often causes them to undisciplined contact. So those are the kind of things yang juga bisa di-hunt sama Bogor Hornbills because they're very good on engaging contacts, drive to get contacts and all. Kemudian nomor 2, structural weakness, the stretch 5 dilemma. Jeff Whitty is an ultimate rim protector, 1,83 block per game dan 11,83 rebound per game, but he thrives in drop coverage where he can stay near the basket. He struggles when he is forced to defend out the 3-point line. Jadi kalau Jeff Whitty bisa ke drag ke arah perimeter dan Pelita Jaya mungkin saja kalau mereka lacking secondary elite rim protector, leaving the paint completely exposed, ini akan bahaya karena Bogor Hornbills adalah tim nomor 1 soal rim drive, kayak Mutia pernah bilang waktu lagi bahas first round dan semifinals. Defensive rebounding variance. Jeff Whitty itu elite rebounder. Pelita Jaya collectively, kalau bahas Pelita Jaya in general, walaupun Jeff Whitty bagus, tapi Pelita Jaya collectively punya historical vulnerabilities on the defensive glass when they are forced to rotate heavily. Mereka ada di bottom of the league in defensive rebounding rate di peringkat 11. Jadi itu jadi salah satu hal yang juga jadi catatan masuk ke postseason sebenarnya karena Coach Steve juga bahas ini waktu postseason, waktu post game conference, press conference as well. Jadi to possibly pull up the upset, kalau tadi Mutia bahas dari sisi Pelita Jaya how to defend seorang Caleb Wesson. Kalau dari sisi Bogor Hornbills yang punya seorang Caleb Wesson, they would probably weaponize Caleb Wesson as the ultimate decoy. Bogor harusnya bisa menggunakan utilisasi Caleb Wesson exclusively as stretch 5 to manipulate Jeff Whitty. 7,86 3-pointers per game ini bukan angka yang main-main ya, apalagi untuk seorang stretch 5. Bisa menarik Jeff Whitty untuk bermain one-on-one, jagain Caleb Wesson di perimeter, di area dalamnya ini yang bisa jadi playground untuk para rim drivernya Bogor Hornbills. So if Jeff Whitty stays in the paint doing drop coverage, Caleb Wesson gets wide open threes. If Jeff Whitty steps out of the perimeter to guard Caleb Wesson, the paint is immediately emptied of Pelita Jaya's best shot blocker. So that's the thing that Bogor can utilize. Nomor 2, relentless downhill pressure alias hunt the whistle basically. Mereka punya Travin Thibodeau yang bisa aggressively drive to the rim. To be honest, Anthony Erga juga beberapa kali melakukan hal tersebut. Hanya harus lebih efektif aja. Karena Pelita Jaya juga punya rank yang bisa di hunt yang tadi Mutia sempat bahas kayaknya. Nomor 7 di free throw rate allowed. Bogor nomor 1 di free throw rate di angka 35,38. Bogor Hornbills punya mathematical advantage in drawing contact. So the goal is not just to score but to put Jeff Whitty, Darius Moten, Buford in foul trouble in the first half early, so they can force Pelita Jaya to dig into their weaker bench rotation. But there's a huge but in here, is that Stephen Branch must fix his 41.82% free throw shooting, or this strategy will backfire completely. Nomor 3, punish the offensive glass. Tadi Mutia sempat bahas defensive rebounding dari Pelita Jaya. Ketika kita bahas Caleb Weston shoots from the outside and drags Jeff Whitty with him, the rebounding battle underneath the rim becomes a mismatch. Karena Jeff Whitty akan telat ketika nanti harus menjaga atau mencari mencari defensive rebound. Travin Thibodeau 3,29 offensive rebound per game. Stephen Branch 3,57 offensive rebound per game. They both must crush the offensive glass relentlessly. Securing second chance points against a scrambled Pelita Jaya defense is the easiest way to bypass their elite half-court set. Jadi nggak cuma Travin, nggak cuma Steph Branch. We have Kelvin Sanjaya, for example. He needs to step up, especially on the offensive glass. This is very important karena second chance opportunity itu sangat besar. Presentasinya untuk mendapatkan second chance opportunity besar banget dari offensive rebounding untuk Bogor Hornbills. Dan nomor 4, kalau mereka mensinyalir local guard, local shooternya nih lagi jelek, they cannot afford to be liabilities on defense as well. Jadi kalau shootingnya lagi bau, jangan sampai di defense mereka juga nggak ada kontribusi. Bogor must play zone or aggressively pre-switch screens to prevent the likes of, for example, the likes of Perrin Buford from hunting safely Erga on ISO mismatches. Karena menghentikan Perrin Buford seutuhnya di lapangan tuh ibarat mencoba menghentikan kereta api with bare hands. Di otak gue ingatnya kayak Spider-Man gitu, mencoba menghentikan kereta api gitu ya. Rata-ratanya aja 22 poin, 7,67 rebound, 11,17 assist per game. Buford is not just a scorer, he is a complete offensive system of Pelita Jaya. Tapi ketika kita bicara playoff series in basketball, kalian nggak perlu menghentikan bintang utamanya hingga menghasilkan 0 point. Kalian hanya perlu merusak ritme dan juga efisiensinya. Jadi kalau bicara Perrin Buford, nomor 1 yang kepikiran sama Mutia tuh nomor 1 adalah give him the LeBron treatment. Here's what I mean. Matiin jalur passing, biarin dia nyetak poin. Hear me out. Bahaya terbesar Buford bukan cuma di 22 poinnya aja, tapi 11,17 assist yang membuat Darius Moten misalnya akurasinya bisa 68% di effective field goalnya. Jeff Whitty leluasa di bawah ring. It's because Perrin Buford has the court vision, has the ability to pass, has the gravity as well to attract defenders to guard him. Jadi Bogor Hornbills, again, when I said about LeBron treatment, mereka harus punya pertahanan yang dinamakan saat itu di Lakers juga suka dipakai, yang dinamakan stay at home. Stay at home ini saat Perrin Buford melakukan penetrasi, pemain Bogor yang menjaga perimeter, menjaga the likes of big man di area rim, menjaga big man di bawah, di baseline, nggak boleh melakukan help defense atau nggak boleh banyak rotasi. Stay at home. Karena tiknya ini, goalnya adalah untuk menciptakan one-on-one situation for Perrin Buford. Karena again, harus ada yang di-sacrifice. If you let him score 30 points, but if you can contain him to only getting probably 2 to 3 assists, that's a sacrifice I am willing to take. Karena mati kutu, supply bolanya terhenti, offense-nya pun juga jadi macet. Itu yang bisa salah satu yang bisa diharapkan. This is also a tactic I would say the opponents treat for the likes of DJ Cooper. You have to choose your battle. Ketika mereka memilih to contain aliran bolanya DJ Cooper and they let him shoot long three. It's a good gamble karena kadang berfungsi, kadang enggak. And it happens. Nomor 2, soal Perrin Buford. Go under screens. Statistik menunjukkan bahwa Buford ini sangat dominan di area dalam dengan rata 12,33 points per game. Tapi akurasi 3 poinnya hanya berada di angka rata-rata 33,33%. Jadi setiap kali ini bisa jadi salah satu acuan ya. Setiap kali Pelita Jaya melakukan pick and roll untuk Buford, defender Bogor kayak Stephen Branch atau ketika dalam defensive situation kayak David Nuban misalnya melakukan skema go under atau berlari memutar ke belakang pemain yang melakukan screen. Skema ini sengaja untuk nutup jalur drive-nya Buford kering dan memberikannya ruang kosong malah di luar garis 3 point. Karena mau nggak mau Bogor harus menantang egonya Buford. Silakan tembak 3 point because we are choosing to not allowing you going through the paint area. Because he is more effective to drive to the paint area rather than he is shooting three. So if I were Bogor Hornbills, that's a gamble I'm willing to take. Number 3, the physical attrition. Perrin Buford bisa memikul beban yang luar biasa berat juga, sama seperti Caleb Wesson in terms of minutes per game. Dia juga minutes per game-nya tinggi banget, 37,79 menit per game. Jadi attack his stamina. Jangan biarkan Buford beristirahat saat Pelita Jaya sedang defense. Caleb Wesson, Travin Thibodeau harus terus-menerus getting the screen untuk melibatkan pemain yang dijaga sama Buford. Paksa Buford untuk berlari melewati barikade screen, getting contacts, adu fisik untuk nahan drive kencengnya dari pemain-pemain Bogor. Jadi kalau misalnya kalau berganti possession dan kelelahan gitu ya di quarter ketiga, 4, harapannya akurasi tembakannya, daya ledaknya pun juga jadi menurun drastis di quarter keempat. Number 4, again still Perrin Buford, wall up in transition. Buford mencetak 3 fast break points per game. Seringkali memicu serangan balik dari Pelita Jaya. Begitu, jadi kalau kita bicara wall up and transition, again, this is a gamble. Ketika Bogor Hornbills pemainnya melepaskan tembakan, guard mereka harus langsung memutar badan dan berlari ke area defense. Sprint back, mengorbankan kesempatan offensive rebound. Let it be Travin Thibodeau atau yang mencoba untuk gamble kalau nggak masuk untuk mendapatkan offensive rebound. But if you really need to contain Perrin Buford, you have to build a wall before the transition happens. Membangun tembok di depan paint area sebelum Buford akhirnya melewati garis tengah lapangan, dan itu efektif untuk memaksa, actually nggak cuma Perrin Buford tapi siapapun yang nantinya akan bawa bola, memaksa untuk akhirnya melambatkan pace, melambatkan transition plays, dan memaksa mereka untuk bermain set half court yang lambat ala Pelita Jaya. Ya emang sebenarnya Pelita Jaya juga malah salah satu tim yang unggul di set plays, tapi mereka juga sangat unggul di transition play. So that's why one of the ways to contain them is to stop their transition by slowing them down. I guess that's the interesting part of the tactical prediction. Dua-duanya udah Mutia bahas tadi, dan juga Mutia ambil sampel dari 2 individual tadi. So hopefully ini berimbang juga untuk kalian. Kalau ada yang belum dibahas, so sorry, because I want to keep this as compact, as effective as possible. As per usual, I'm not gonna say my predictions out loud. This is only solely based on what I've seen on the games and what I've seen from the statistical lineup. So yeah. Harapannya ini jadi competitive series yang menyenangkan. I don't have X in this basket, so I hope everyone's having fun watching it. I hope this is going to be a massive tactical battle. We're talking about 4 times Coach of the Year. We're talking about the Coach of the Year, League MVP, dan pemain-pemain yang juga punya accolades nggak main-main. Bogor Hornbills hanya 4-5 pemain yang punya finals experience. So obviously they are the utmost Cinderella story. They didn't even make it to the playoffs last season, and they made it to the finals this season. So you're talking about matchup between offensive juggernaut who wants to get the throne back because it's being taken away by Dewa United last season, and against a team with their first trip to the finals for Bogor area, Kabupaten Bogor, their first finals for the franchise. So this is going to be interesting to see who is more hungry of championship titles. Drop your predictions below to the comments, dan spread the words. Banyakin share. Kalau ditonton banyak orang, di-share banyak orang, Mutia akan senang sekali dan jadi makin semangat untuk bikin banyak konten yang berguna buat kalian. Nanti walaupun IBL 2026 akan berakhir sesaat lagi dalam 2 minggu dari sekarang, hopefully I can make season review, for example, for all teams, season prediction untuk 2027. Jangan lupa ada All Indonesian juga sesaat lagi ya, di possibly around August. So there's a lot to talk about. There's more basketball to see. There's more basketball to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed this one and have fun watching the finals. I'll see you guys courtside, and I'll be calling my Feds finals from the broadcaster booth. That's exciting. And I'll see you hopefully on the trophy ceremony. So yeah, this is Box Out. I'm Mutia Wirasastra signing out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.